first, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello and welcome to Fox 12 Now. That is a live look from our Maryhill camera there at the Columbia River from Vancouver. It looks pretty nice out there, I gotta say right now. So congrats to everybody who's able to get outside here without any rain. And again, I am Greg Nebel. This is Fox 12 Now. If it's your first time watching, we live stream on Facebook, YouTube, our website, and our apps. I highly recommend downloading that Fox 12 Oregon app. You can click on the Fox 12 Now tab, and then you can watch all the different segments that we get to have, which is a lot. We talk about a wide range of things on here, but I'm sure most of you are aware that the day is tax day. If you're just finding out about that right now, then you've got a few hours left to try to either file an extension or get your taxes in, but definitely something you'll want to do as far as one of those things. But something else that's going on with tax day, as usual, spammers and scammers are out there trying to trick you into giving them your money. And we're going to discuss some of the different ways that they're doing that and things to watch out for both yourself and maybe for family members or friends who may be more susceptible to falling victims to those. We've got Jeremy Fuchs joining us right now to talk about this from Checkpoint. And Jeremy, thank you very much for being here with us to discuss this. And so for a day like today, with everybody rushing to either get their taxes in or hoping to get taxes back, all that stuff, is this a day when spammers kind of go into overdrive?
Yeah, like with any major event, but particularly with tax day, scammers sort of always rush to take advantage of big moments or big opportunities. And obviously, the big difference about tax day is that you are communicating a significant amount of financial and personal information. At the end of the day, hackers are trying to get either money or they're trying to get information to, whether it's log into a bank account or have your social security number or something like that. So tax day is like the golden goose in terms of what a hacker can get. And obviously, as you get closer, and as here we are on April 15th, urgency always plays a role in any sort of scam. And with today, there's no more urgency than today. So it's even though it's almost over, it remains critical to remain on guard for any potential scams coming your way.
Yeah, I mean, and I know I personally, I talked about this earlier, I've received some texts and some phone calls associated with it, but a lot of emails that some of them are kind of convincing, I'll say it. And even as somebody who has done some of these segments to know to watch out for that stuff, they're kind of convincing. And if you're dealing with money, everybody's a little stressed out. Nobody likes tax day necessarily, well, at least, if you're paying taxes. But I would imagine somebody's guard is down a little bit more as well. And there's some things to watch out for with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the first thing to remember is that the IRS will never email you or text you or call you. Any initial correspondence is going to be done via paper mail. So that's always the first thing to remember. And the other thing, to your point about pretty convincing emails, is that hackers are now using apps like ChatGPT to generate very convincing and very plausible sounding emails. Actually, our researchers last year were able to, with just a little bit of sort of manipulation, nothing incredibly advanced technically, were able to get ChatGPT to write an example scam tax email, right? So these are things that anybody around the world can do fairly easily. Usually at the end of the day, these emails are trying to get the recipient to give over information or give them your money or say, hey, you're in trouble with the IRS, we need to talk now. These are, like you said, very urgent. They're becoming more and more convincing, but they will actually never come via email if they are legitimate.
So definitely be aware of that, and that's from the IRS. Now, when it comes to the state governments, are they all kind of under that same uniform idea, or is that something that could be different from state to state? Just to be aware of what to watch out for.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it could be different from state to state, but I think a good general principle when dealing with taxes is that if you do get a suspicious email or text or phone call, you always just follow up directly with whether it's the IRS or your state agency or local government or city government. We're dealing, like I said, with a ton of personal information, and that personal information, if taken, can be used to conduct so many other phishing and other campaigns that steal your money or identity. So it's really important to remain on guard, particularly in tax season. And so with any email you get, tax related or not, if you have a 1% of doubt, that's enough to say, let's slow down and maybe let's call the person directly or reach out to them in another manner to make sure that you don't get information stolen from you.
Now, if you do get one of those emails and clearly nothing's coming from the IRS, as you just mentioned. That's not how they're going to contact you, at least not in any kind of initial contact. So that's important to know for everybody. So when telling your family and friends about that. But if you do get an email and you do have, maybe there's that 1% doubt, but everything does look pretty legitimate as far as it's somebody corresponding with you and you think that you know this person or all of that. But if there's that 1% of doubt, what's the best way to go about that? Is it to go to the official website of someone or an official phone number if you have that? Because I can imagine the phone number, even in the email, could be.
Yeah. Yeah, there are a few things that you can do, and you should probably do with any email, particularly related to any sort of sensitive information, tax or otherwise. Always look at the sender address. Sometimes it's hidden, particularly if you're on your phone. You don't see the sender address, the at something.com. You just see the name. Look at that. Odds are it's going to be different from irs.gov. It could be a Gmail address. It could be some random string of characters. If you see that, delete. You also can look at the links. You can hover over with your mouse, or if you're on your phone, you can just kind of hold it down with your finger and not release, and you can see what the URL is. Again, if it's not going to irs.gov or any other official state agency or local agency, don't engage. Those are always good things you should do with every email you get, whether you think you know the person or not. But again, particularly around this time of year, it's especially important. And then if you have any doubt, call the agency directly. Actually, go to Google the number for the agency and call that way, and don't use the number in the email. It's an extra step, but it's an extra step worth taking.
Now, if somebody does accidentally reply to one of these emails, and they're stressed out or whatever, and somebody just doesn't think about it, sends something that they shouldn't have, and they realize it, what's the first step that they should do once that has happened?
Yeah, there's a few things. I mean, obviously, it depends on what you reply. Oftentimes, the information isn't taken into 3 or 4 correspondences later. So if you do reply, you can always just stop. But if you do give over this information, obviously contact local authorities or state or federal authorities, and just give as much information as possible so they can help track them down.
Yeah, start taking those steps then to rectify that situation should you do that. What else do you think is important for people to know, just especially around this time and going forward here when it comes to these tax scams?
Yeah, I think it's just really important to remember that it does happen. You're more likely to get a scam email than you aren't, but that doesn't mean that there needs to be panic. A lot of the things that I described take about 10 extra seconds, 20 extra seconds to go through and just sit down and take a breath and think about it, as opposed to just responding right away. And using these checks, again, on any email around tax season or any email anytime, takes an additional 20 seconds, and those 20 seconds will save you a lot more headache down the road.
Sounds like these are just good habits to develop no matter what.
Yeah, exactly. Just because it's tax season, the actual foundations of cyber hygiene don't change. Maybe the velocity of attacks that are coming and maybe the stakes in terms of what might be taken could be higher, but the actual remedy remains the same.
How much better are they getting at this, at scamming people with this proliferation of AI, and how much improvement that's being made in that?
Yeah, so right now you have seen a pretty drastic increase in the quality of phishing emails, and that's not to say that they weren't good before, but one of the telltale signs in the past was, misspellings, incorrect grammar, things like that. That, for the most part, has been eliminated. It's not. There are still phishing emails that come in with bad spelling or people who don't use AI, but AI doesn't really make spelling mistakes. So that and it sounds a little bit more conversational and human as opposed to sort of kind of very stilted language. So those things that were usually dead giveaways that something was wrong are no longer the case. But again, similar things remain in terms of who is sending this email to me, what are they asking me to do, does this make sense, is this the typical way that I'm supposed to get this communication? All those things remain the same. The only thing that's probably changed is that you can't look at, oh wow, this person has really spelled every word wrong, I should ignore it. That has gone away.
Wow. Well, definitely all good information, to pay attention to here going forward and forever. I mean, they're never going to stop. So it's important to stay ahead of that and know what to do. And anything else that you think is important for people to know just about yourself or even your company?
Yeah, cyber security threats are always on the rise. We're here at Checkpoint to try to just help you protect your organization, protect your data, and protect yourself. And so doing your research on what makes a good cybersecurity solution is always a good idea for both yourself and for your business.
Well, Jeremy, thank you very much for being here with us today. I appreciate your time and information on there. I think it's important for everybody. So, again, if you were watching this, you're like, okay, I knew that stuff, but maybe somebody you know doesn't know that stuff and doesn't know to double check an email address or a URL. That's why it's important to help out those people, I think, in your life too. So make sure to send this segment over. Jeremy, thanks for being here on Fox 12 Now.
Thank you.
And for everyone watching, as I mentioned, we are live here every weekday starting at 1 p.m. So lots of different coverage that we have. And earlier today, we talked about polling results from about tipping, about how you feel about tipping, particularly people in Washington. So there's a survey that you can watch where we went through that data. And some of it was actually pretty fascinating and something I will say surprising. So you can watch that segment and all of our other segments too, just via that Fox 12 Oregon app. So you can download that on whatever platform you're on. Just take out your phone, look in the App Store, Fox 12 Oregon, there you go. And you can click on the Fox 12 Now tab. But of course, we're also on the website, Facebook, and YouTube. So there are plenty of places to find this show and all the things that we cover. So I thank you for being here. If there's breaking news, you'll see me right back here, and we'll get you that as soon as we know, whatever that may be, should breaking news happen between 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. outside of our other newscasts. This is the place to go. We will get you all the details that we can as soon as we can, should that happen. So thank you for being here, and I will talk to you soon. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.